Welcome to the next episode of the CAPB podcast. This is our third episode we're recording, and I am delighted to say welcome to Nathaniel Davidson from Austere Medical Solutions. Welcome, Nathaniel.
Cheers. Yeah, thanks for having me. Thanks for getting me on.
We'll get there in the end. I know it's been a little bit of a to and fro in with the invites, but we'll get there. We're learning too.
Yeah, perfect.
So Nate, have you done any podcasts or anything like this before?
No, it's just my first one. Obviously, Kyle mentioned it. Said you were looking for some guinea pigs, some volunteers. So yeah, it sounds good. Sounds interesting. Sort of promotes me a little bit more as well. So yeah, it's good to do some interesting stuff in it. Have a chat to you guys, see what's going on.
The idea of the podcast, and as I say, is as we've said before, Paul and I are military veterans, and what just inspires us is people who leave the military and go into business. There's so much risk involved. There's so much diverse businesses out there, and so many really brilliant veteran-owned businesses like yours. And we just want to celebrate the success.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's why we're here.
So Nate, I want to take you back to the beginning, shall we say?
Yeah.
Obviously, as Matt said, this is about military veterans and moving over to the business. So, can you just tell us a bit about your military career?
Yeah, so I always wanted to do it in some way. I wasn't really too sure, what I wanted to do. Obviously, the army and the military as a whole, it's a whole different world, and obviously we've got everything. I mean, obviously you two guys, everyone on the podcast already, everyone we've been speaking to this morning has all done different things. So I wasn't really too sure what I wanted to do. I was sort of growing up, started getting interested in science a little bit more, the sort of medical stuff, even space and aviation, that type of stuff as well. So overall, sort of fascinated by science, and I was sort of coming together and what am I sort of thinking about doing, what am I going to do next? Obviously, grades at school weren't the best. I didn't really get on too well at school, as probably a lot of us did. So I was sort of thinking, what am I going to do now? So yeah, it was sort of tying it together and sort of coming up with a plan. And the army and the medical seemed like just the best option. Did look at other things like the engineers doing sort of like construction materials type stuff and the medical, but it sort of kept coming back to that. Obviously, a little while ago, obviously you were quite pushed towards infantry. So when I was going to careers office, I was sort of saying, oh yeah, this is the best option. Join infantry, do that for a few years, and then do something else in the army if you want. But I sort of said no and sort of stuck to that. So that sort of went in the end. I joined the regulars, and then did that sort of the usual stuff. Went to pub right for a little while, and then on to Keel. And then that was really good. I mean, I really enjoyed it, especially the sort of phase 2 and stuff. It was really good. Did that for I'd say 5 years. Went to 16 meds, so I was in 16 med for 5 years. Really good unit, really good brigades, especially the brigade's pretty good. So did some stuff. I obviously worked with 2 and 3 para as a sort of embedded medic, which was pretty good. I even opened my eyes up to the army a little bit more and seeing sort of the true nature of the army and the sort of combat side and infantry side was pretty good. Some good guys, and I learnt a lot from them. But it was more.
Nate, there's a lot of similarities so far.
Yeah.
I was in my earlier days of my career, I was at 16 med, and I deployed to Iraq with 2 para. And I think going from working in the med regis to being a company medic with an infantry battalion is chalk and cheese, isn't it? It's
absolutely.
When you're the medic, it makes such a difference to that group of people,
Absolutely, and I think you take it for granted because you're with medics every day, especially in 16 as well. You sort of got the field surgical teams, so you're sort of surrounded by medical people every day, but you're not really doing medical stuff as such, are you? Sort of just obviously doing the usual stuff like the tent pegs and all that type of thing, and so it was good to sort of go there and they see you as a medic. I mean, they see you as this guy knows everything, doesn't he? That's how they sort of think you're the bees and knees with medical stuff. Come to you with all sorts of stuff, and it's quite a big eye opener. It was really good. I mean, that was sort of my first taste of being a medic, really doing some stuff. Got heat illnesses, got sort of some trauma as well, some minor sort of trauma, a lot of falls, that type of stuff, but loads of insect bites, obviously some spider bites, some scorpion stings, sort of some self-inflicted stuff as well. People playing with scorpions, that type of thing. So it was a good thing, good eye opener. So it sort of founded me, I think, as a medic even now. There's a lot of cases I've sort of seen, if you like, from back then, sort of have shaping me. Like things like guys getting attacked by elephants, that type of stuff. It's things you wouldn't get outside the army, and it's still sort of so easy to tell now, and people are amazed. And I think for us, it's just a routine sort of thing, isn't it? Do you mean it's just you take that for granted. A lot of people haven't seen scorpion stings in the real world. I feel like I've not seen that sort of stuff in the UK, so it is pretty good exposure, especially as you're sort of young, sort of late teenager, sort of young adult, if you like. It's pretty good. And even the like I sort of said, the infantry skills, it was pretty good to see what they were doing and learn some things and take that a little bit forward. You hear sort of horror stories as well about the reg, especially, don't you? And they say, oh yeah, you're going to get filled in, you're going to do this, and they don't speak to you and all that, but they actually are pretty good guys. They're really great at their job, take the job really seriously, really enthusiastic.
I agree with that entirely. What I found working with 16 Assault Brigade was they didn't really care as long as you were competent.
Absolutely, yeah.
You were good at your job. You were the medic, and you did good med stuff. You were accepted. If you were the comms guy and you got comms, then there was no issues. It was just that level of competence, I think, is.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with it 100%. I think that's all they really want at the end of the day, isn't it? That's what, if you speak to Sergeant Major and stuff, that's all they're interested in. They don't really want, like, obviously that's a bonus in it, but amazing infantry skills and all that type of stuff are not really too fast as long as you're not an idiot. I mean, as long as you can pack your bag and all that type of stuff, and you're not a liability to them. As long as you can sort of augment into them as an individual and be a good overall good guy, I think that's good. And if you're keen to learn, obviously, what they've got to offer as well, that's a bonus. When I was in 16, it was fairly good. They got the clinical placement sorted out with Colchester Hospital. So we went there, and again, that was even more opportunities to get involved. And I think that was almost like my turning point. I think not turning point as such, but turning point where I was sort of thinking, yeah, being a CMT is great. I love it, but I want to progress to the next stage. I felt there was a lot of limitations in practice there, and that's sort of what I mentioned at the start. The Reg sort of think you can know everything, but they'll think you know everything, but there's a lot you don't really know. There's a lot you haven't really been taught or covered or what you can do. And I think when I sort of seen paramedics coming into A&E and even paramedics working in A&E wasn't as common then as it is now. But yeah, it definitely made me think, and it was a lot more going on. There's a lot more going on in healthcare, and even in terms of treatment options and different things like that. So I think that was it. I wanted to take my skills forward, do more stuff for a patient, learn more stuff. And I think that's what I came back to at the start as well, when I said I was always interested in science and that type of stuff, and learn more about like pharmacokinetics and medications and that type of stuff and how they work, and seeing the effects from them as well, especially like things like anaphylaxis and stuff like that, and seeing how quick treatment actually works and the differences it makes. It sort of made me want to learn more, really. And that was it. So I did that for 5 years and then applied for a paramedic course. It was good. It was sort of gave me that tick in the box, gave me the sort of registration, which. Yeah,
I think it's Nate, to go from like your story so far, to go from, as you said, you didn't do great at school.
Yeah.
To graduating from uni as a paramedic, I think that's amazing, mate.
I know.
Having this career where you're working in Austere, doing all the bits that medics join the military for. At what point during your career did you think, I fancy going into business here? Where did the idea come from?
I really wanted to be a paramedic more. I sort of had that skill set and I wasn't really using it. There was a lot of times like we weren't getting the kit we needed and things. As a CMT, we want as a paramedic we were getting CMT kit. Obviously we weren't getting a lot of the medications, that type of stuff, the airway kit we needed and all that sort of stuff. So it was just in the end I was just sort of thinking I felt a bit in limbo, really. That was the main turning point. I felt in limbo, sort of thinking, going away, and 1 week as a paramedic, next week as a CMT, and no one really knew how to manage us. And I don't really know why. I mean, it's quite a simple thing. I mean, there's a lot of evidence, obviously, for paramedics and what paramedics do outside. There's a lot of working in GP surgeries, working in critical care, that sort of stuff. There's loads of people use it. It's quite a wide like sort of arch and skill now. It can sort of be employed anywhere, almost like when I was talking about sort of embedded as a company medic. I think medics overall can sort of fit into anything, any environment, which I think is a unique skill set. And a sort of unique opportunity as well, or a unique selling point of the job is you can sort of work pretty much anywhere. You don't have to work in a hospital ambulance, you can go anywhere. So that's sort of when it was all coming together, and I was sort of looking at what am I going to do next, what's the sort of next thing. And then I'd started working with Prometheus. They were doing some event covers, so I sort of done a little bit of that, and then doing some stuff for the BBC, setting up things like rigging and all that type of stuff, doing the cover, doing that on leave. There was just a lot more stuff going on there. I was speaking to some guys who were doing some like high risk stuff and all that, and it just seemed, the next logical step. Sort of set my own company up to do some contracting stuff. Because the idea, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I didn't really have any ideas. I mean, I wanted to be a paramedic. But I wasn't really dead set on working in a hospital, working in a GP surgery, working in the ambulance. There was a lot of different stuff I was sort of looking at, but I wanted to be overall keep a bit more flexible, especially leaving the army as well. I wanted to have a bit more, free reign, and sort of have a bit more freedom in a way. So that was sort of how it came around. And I was thinking with this, obviously the money's not bad. I can pretty much do what I'm interested in. I could do 3 days in the hospital and then go and do a week covering like a film set or doing this. Or I think that's the sort of good thing. And if you were working for an ambulance trust, for example, you wouldn't really have that availability. You wouldn't be able to do that, or that flexibility, I should say. So that was one of the main things. So it wasn't really to make loads of money or anything. That wasn't the idea. It was more just to sort of do what I wanted to do what I was interested in. And so the money would be great as well, but the flexibility as well. I've got
I love that, Nate. I mean, I think to know that you wanted to do clinical stuff, and the military wasn't giving you, that's a tick. I completely get that.
Yeah.
But then to have that, to have the bravery to go, I'm going to be a paramedic. I want to be clinical, but I'm going to do this on my terms by setting up a company. Yeah. And what was the idea behind Austere Medical Solutions? Was it for you to be a paramedic, or was it evolved into what it is today?
So that was the idea. Austere Medical Solutions, providing me as a product. Done all this military stuff, done the tropical med experience, remote areas. I've also done a little bit in Civvy Street by this point as well when I was sort of setting up. So I was working. I got a management job when I left the army actually. So I was working in police custody. So I did that for a year. And then I was doing Datex investigations, sort of clinical investigations and that type of stuff. And it was all coming together a little bit more. I had that experience, but it just wasn't really me. I wasn't really feeling it. I mean, I felt like I was sort of missing bits. Wanted to take the next sort of step again and expand a little bit more and sort of learn a little bit more. So that sort of led me on to working in. So I got a job as a specialist paramedic. So did my prescribing, did sort of looking at blood results, X-rays, taking it a little bit further. And when I had all this stuff together, that's when Austere really kicked in. So I had it running in the background. So it wasn't using it as much, and then it sort of really came together when I had all this stuff. And I sort of sat down one day and said, like, what am I really doing? What's the next stage? And then it came to me as a product when I had all these sort of stuff to offer, and I wanted to really market myself a little bit more. And then sort of that's sort of where the name come from and everything else. So started doing that, and then picked up some contracts, doing some locum work and things like that from a company. Then sort of got some of my own contracts, which I do now. And then I think with the Aeromed stuff came in, I was just sort of missing a little bit from the army. I think missing the travel, missing packing my kit and all that type of stuff, and just that sort of get up and go, almost like next week we're going here for how long we're going or wherever we're going, and I sort of missed all that stuff. And then, like I've said, I've got a 4-year-old daughter now who's my best friend in the world, so we are pretty close. I didn't want to be away months on end, so I think this was the idea of it all coming together. That was it. So I could sort of do a little bit I wanted to do. I could do some true clinical stuff in the NHS, do a little bit flying, do a little bit overseas travel, but then sort of come back home every few days, market myself as this product, and then sort of build up my brand, if you like. So that's sort of how, sort of Instagram and that came around, just sort of showcasing a little bit of what I'm doing, and then sort of getting the brand out there. Yeah.
So Nath, you mentioned something that really sort of struck a chord with me there when you understood what you had to bring to the party, as it were. You're coming out of the military. You are trained, and you didn't particularly want to go down an avenue, a stream like, paramedic go straight into the ambulance service or the NHS. You also realised, which was again like a light bulb moment, just a second for me, which was actually I've got a little bit more to offer here. I've done X, Y, and Z, which is niche in the wider concept of the field that I work in, and you've really sort of gone, this is me, and as you said, you've almost product sized, that's a word by the way, yourself, out into industry. So I want to ask a question. We ask this question all the time on the podcast. Firstly, do you feel that your military career has helped shape Austere Medical Solutions into what it is today in regards to your mindset and how you go away and do things? And then the second part of that question is, what have you learned within business that you could potentially share some sort of little feedback and little golden nuggets back out to the rest of the community?
Yeah, so I think absolutely answer to the first part is 100%. everything from sort of day one, like week one stuff, learning just attention to detail is all what a business is about. People notice those things. Just turning up smart, looking presentable, confidence as well. I think confidence on the task and knowing you can get it sorted, and then just overall having, just doing stuff. In the army, you can't really say no to stuff. So I mean, I remember like when you're doing PT and you're doing swimming and things like that, and you've got to do jumping off boards and you don't want to do it. I was talking to one of the guys at this ex-military guy the other day as well, and it's stuff that you hate doing, but you just have to do it. No is not like an option. You can't say no to things. I mean, it's just has to happen, and I think that's an amazing skill to learn to come to business, which we all have. So I think that's the main thing. But overall, just professionalism, professional standards. I think without the army as a whole, I'd have been working probably somewhere probably I don't like as much. I mean, and probably not as happy in life. So I think overall it's been a great experience, and got a lot from it.
And the second part, so would you sort of now been running this business successfully?
Yeah,
obviously there's been, with everything that we do, we have ups and downs, and we have points where we think, is this going to take off the ground? Am I making the right decision? Obviously you've backed yourself 100%, which is great. What lessons have you learned through doing this? Not if we just sort of park the military transition into business aside for 1 second, you're now successfully running your business. What have you learned within your business and particularly within the industry? And because it is quite niche, I think.
It's quite a I think general business stuff, like we sort of mentioned at the start as well about tax and all that type of stuff. So general running a business is it can take up quite a lot of time, and suddenly it can get quite complex. So I think staying on top of tax and that type of stuff and invoices and everything else, it's different. I mean, it's not like you're just working for a company, working for someone else, and you get paid every month. You've got to obviously produce invoices, that type of stuff, and work it out, and it's all on you to do these things. So there's things that no one really teaches you. I mean, obviously you can go and learn from people, but overall it's things you just have to learn yourself and just get better at. And then obviously my first year got stung on tax and that type of stuff, and you sort of just have to learn it, don't you? And learn it, and then next year get a little bit better, get a bit more aware of what's going to happen next, and you sort of know what's coming up now. So just get ready for it. I think that's it. And another little thing as well, I'm running a course now, so I started branching into teaching a little bit more. So we've sort of mentioned at the start, there's a lot of transferable skills we've got, and I've done the aeromed stuff for a couple of years now, so I've sort of got that behind me now. So working in flights, working in aircraft is sort of my main sort of niche now, if you like. So running that now, running a course that's a medical emergencies and flight course called the Aviation Medical First Responder. So I'm getting that together, and that's exciting times. We've got a 737 cabin trainer, so it turns on, lights turn on, smoke comes out, that type of stuff, doors open. So it'll be pretty good, pretty an epic day. But it's just getting all that together. It's got a big chunk, and as doing that as an individual, it's all on you. There's no one like in the army telling you, you need to do this. Remember to book golf or book this or book transport and stuff. It's all down to you now. So I think that sort of answers comes into a little bit question 1 and 2, I guess. So what I've learned from the army, but also what I've learned about myself. It's all on you. So it's just a lot more to think about, and just breaking it down. And I think just breaking it down and taking it a stage at a time works well. Just general planning skills, but taking it down. Don't take everything on at once, because in itself it's a massive task, isn't it? But you break it down into smaller chunks and deciding what you want to do and how you're going to run it. That's it. But it's just like, I think marketing yourself it's a big world, isn't it? And especially on social media and stuff, is loads of other people out there doing similar things, and it's just obviously showcasing what you've got, which I think is hard because you don't want to sound like too cocky or sound too arrogant or anything else. But it's just finding that balance, being approachable, being good at what you do, being reputable, and keeping current with stuff as well. I think it's quite easy as well just to coast along and not do any CPD and learn more stuff. And I think that's, you need to keep up your game a little bit more and stay sharp.
So I guess, firstly, thank you so much. It's been like a real insight into what you're about, into what Austere Medical Solutions is about. What we like to do to wrap up the podcast is basically give you the last minute, almost that elevator pitch, that Dragon's Den moment where we get to share and people get to hear what Austere Medical Solutions is about. So Nathan, in your words, tell us about Austere Medical Solutions.
So yeah, so Austere Medical Solutions, as we've said, it's a solution to Austere environments, and we're sort of more branched into I'm branching more into the training side now, and then utilising all that experience we've got gained through the military, gained through doing aeromed skills from being an advanced practitioner in the NHS, and tying it all together into this one pot to deliver effective training solutions, really. So we're looking at bespoke courses tailored more to remote medical world, close protection, security industry, and giving guys an option to learn, essentially those skills, how to work on an aircraft with a patient, unexpected patient, to become an unexpected flight medic. So you're doing whatever you're doing with your patient, and then now you're looking after them in the in-flight environment unexpectedly. And this is the sort of idea. And alongside that, I'll be doing my regular contracts. So a lot of my stuff is contracting. So keeping up a regular contract, which is sort of our clients are mostly subcontracting, to be honest. But yeah, doing that and then sort of taking it forward, and then keep building on from there, keeping the CPD up, keeping the skills up, and then going forward.
I just want to thank you again for coming on the podcast on behalf of Matt, myself and the team. It's been really inspirational, insightful to see what AMS does, and the absolute sort of necessity that your business provides sort of worldwide. And obviously being a veteran, and it's our I wouldn't say it's our job, but it's our passion here to celebrate these type of businesses, and we wish you all the best in moving forward in the future. It's been great to have you on, bud.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. It's been great. A new experience for me.
It's been ace, mate. It's been talking to a fellow CMT. You know what I mean? Steadfast and all that. Congratulations for your business, and if there's anything the CAPB podcast can do to support it, we look forward to it, mate.
Good connecting with you guys on it. So